everybody. You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast with Jae
What
and
up,
Joaquin.
everybody? And this is how we're starting. What up? Welcome to this week's episode of the Overflow Podcast. As always, I am Joaquin,
And I
and
am Jay.
we are your fathers.
No, we are not.
But anyway, we are back. We got some stuff to talk about. We got some thoughts about some thoughts. But as always, what up, Jay? How you doing out there in good old sunny Florida?
Chilling, literally, in the morning. So, El Nino is in full effect, and
Bet.
and I've been waking up to a beautiful, brisk 60 degrees in the morning.
Nice.
Which
Okay.
is funny, right? It's funny. So, you know how, like in Georgia, if it's cold or chilly in the morning, gradually it gets warmer.
Right.
So, like by the afternoon, it's warm.
Right.
So, in Florida, it'll be 60 and like I wake up between 5:30 and 6. Right. So it'll be 60 then. But by the time I take the kids to school and I'm back, it's already 80 degrees.
Yeah, it's 100. Yeah, or feels like 100.
So like 6 to 7, it's like 60, 65. I come back about 8:30, 80 degrees. So I'm like in the morning, I'm like, whoo, this is nice. Hoodie weather. And then
Oh my gosh. No. Yeah, here it's been crazy because like I think it was like last week. There was like a week there. It was like in the 30s in the morning, and it'd be in the maybe like the 60s, the 50s, right, in the afternoon. And everybody's like, oh man, winter is really gonna hit us hard this year, And like this last week has been like 60 going out in the like when I'm walking out the door at 5, I'm like, oh, this is nice weather. It's like, 60 degrees. And today was like 80. I think it got to 80, and it's like, Georgia with its schizophrenic weather patterns.
it's like almost like it's spring, like a Georgia springtime, right?
Yeah, it's like, you got El Nino, we got El Bubba. He's out here like, come on, son.
Hilarious. But no, everything is good. We're setting up we're mentally preparing. And then this weekend we have to go and get the things for Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right.
It seems like this year Thanksgiving is going to be even bigger than last year.
Oh.
Yeah,
You got to knock out some walls.
I might have to make 2 better names this year.
Okay.
Plus the turkey for the people who want like traditional turkey.
Turkey's delicious on Thanksgiving.
I don't like turkey any day.
I like turkey on Thanksgiving. You know what? Part of like I guess like any meat, right? When it's not prepared right, then it's just I think turkey can get dried real dry real fast.
Super. Yeah.
If you don't prepare it and cook it.
Yeah, if you don't pay attention, like it'll look nice and crispy on the outside, but then it's like
So this year apparently we're having Thanksgiving in my house this year.
Moms gave up.
No, man, it's pops. Matter of fact, this weekend, my mom and my wife are gonna go on a women's retreat.
Nice.
Friday, Saturday morning, and then they come back Saturday. So pops, no, they come back Saturday. So it's just like an overnight.
So Saturday morning and they come back Saturday?
No, I'm sorry. They leave Friday afternoon.
Okay.
My bad. I fast forwarded it. They Friday overnight to Saturday.
Okay.
And they come back. There we go. So Pops might be coming to the house on Friday to watch a movie, right? I told him, hey, I want you to come to, Kino Cinema. We'll watch a movie. I'll probably rent like Equalizer 3, right? Watch Equalizer 3 with Pops.
Word.
And I might have to punch him in the mouth.
Why?
Now that he's like, I think he's 75, 75 now, 74. Anyway, now that he's old, right? He can't whoop my tail. I could throw some candy at him, get his blood sugar all messed up,
You'd be surprised.
and escape.
Nowhere.
I throw a handful of sugar at him and then go. No, because he was like, oh, Jenny, next year, it needs to be at your house. Ugh. So my wife took it to heart, and I was like, oh, he's messing with you. Well, if he wants to. I'm saying, all right. So I guess we're having it to be everybody, her sisters.
Everybody's gonna be in your house.
Her sisters and her sisters' families, and my family, and the dogs, and it's gonna be a menagerie.
If you guys don't have, you can just throw people down.
We don't have what?
A basement.
No, I'm gonna have to lock the bat cave, I think.
Yeah.
Because Pops is gonna want to be up here the whole time just watching TV.
Yeah. I mean,
so
you don't have a TV.
No, we do have a TV downstairs, but he's gonna want to come up here because that way he can be alone.
He should be alone. Word.
So I might have to unplug the TV and hide the cord. Yeah, you can sit up there all you want, but then TV ain't working. Lock it.
Do what you gotta do.
Put a remember the stuff? The what were they called? That you would put it on the steering wheel so that people couldn't steal your car. What were they called? I don't remember. Put one of those on the TV.
I don't remember either. I know what you're talking about though.
I have one because Kia sent me one because they were stealing Kia, so they sent me one so they wouldn't steal my Kia.
Yo, you know what we used to do with those? We used to pop the steering wheels and then just slide them out.
So my uncle told me that you could spray. What was it? You could spray something on the lock, and then with a screwdriver, just pop the lock, close it, and take the car.
Yeah, you can do that with the actual key starter for a car too. But anyway.
So today is car thieving 101, introductory course to. Now what is that thing called? Anyway, we'll get it at some point in the middle of some deep theological point.
Computer.
The club.
There you go. Because that's right. Because it looks
because it's like a deep theological. The club. It's the club. Yeah, he sent me one.
That's so wild that they would send you one. Hey, we got thousands of these sitting in a warehouse. There you go.
But it's not the club. It's like a different maker or whatever. I mean, it's yellow or whatever. But I'm like,
yeah, the club.
I might start giving it to. No, the club was red.
They had yellow ones too.
Oh, okay. I only saw the red ones. So, but anyway, I don't know why we we're talking about cars, stealing cars.
Oh, just gonna lock up the door to.
Okay, I'm gonna have to lock up the TV so that nobody can come upstairs. But yeah, man. So Thanksgiving, Jenny's making the turkey. So there's gonna be no mofongo stuffing this year.
I was about to say, oh.
So have you had the mofongo stuffing?
Yes.
Have you tried? Yeah, man.
Yeah. I went one of these Thanksgivings where I was alone. I went down to South Georgia when you guys had that house down there.
That's right. So
that was the first
mofongo stuffing this year.
The first time I met Dennis.
Oh, that's right. So, but yeah, man. So that's the.
Oh, yo, I gotta show you something.
Oh, what you got? Oh, Jay's got show and tell. Superman and the Flash. Oh, is that the episode where they race each other?
Yeah, it's the original. 12 cents. You can tell by
Nice.
the ad in the
Yeah,
back. Is
Yep.
Mattel's new M16 Marauder. God's material.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not mine. It's
What
Anthony.
happened? Did you find it somewhere?
No, it's Anthony's. Anthony's girl gave it to him. I think for his birthday.
Is Anthony back?
No, so right now it's mine.
Oh, it's yours. Finders keepers, losers weepers. Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Thank you for my new comic. I'm gonna open it
Okay.
and read this.
While you eating like a Snickers bar, right? It's get your heads all full of chocolate.
But I'm eating a Twix and some Oreos.
And a fun dip.
Oh man, drinking coffee and putting it on it to hold my page.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, Thanksgiving. That's cool for you guys. Us, it's just we. So you remember that in Atlanta, we would invite people that had nowhere to go or couldn't make it home, right? Like
Right.
especially college kids or whatever. But apparently here, a lot more people. So last year we had 19 people, which is interesting, right? Because last year we made it, we got here in October, and then Thanksgiving came around, and we had 19 people. We had 19 people. But this time around, it looks like we're gonna have
20.
No. I think the last time Magda counted, it was already 21. But then the pastor and his wife of the St. Pete Dream Center told me today that they might come, and then and they're Boricua. Oh, you like them? They're Boricua from Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And then
Can't stand them already.
exactly. And then one of my cousins said that he'll come. But it's just wild. It's just wild. I'm talking. Then all the kids, and I'm like, yo, like, I know that we're people that like to invite and host. We need to cut off.
Might have to set up a tent, put some tables outside.
We need to go. Actually, that's what we were thinking about doing. Buying some lights, buying some outdoor lights, and setting up, especially after last night. So a couple weeks ago, two of the girls from Georgia that actually joined us last year are going to join us again this year. Because one of them, their grandma has a condo down here in St. Pete.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they're going to join us again, and they were here a couple weeks ago, and one of them had her parents with her, so we ate outside. Right, there's food and whatever. We have the table. We just bought new chairs for the table, and we ate outside. Did you see the new? I don't know if you saw the new table. I think you when you were here. Oh yeah. Of course, you were here not too long ago. So we ate outside, and it was nice, right? It was cool. It was right at sunset, right? So it was nice and cool out there. It wasn't too hot. We're close to the Gulf, so it was breezy, right? So it was nice. And then after that, we went for ice cream. And then last night, you saw it was like 59 degrees last night. It was great. So I had the chimenea on. We're out there. The kids are playing, right? And then that's when I told Magda, I say, hey, I think we should get the tables and put them out here, because we have two extra foldable tables, so we should put the table here for Thanksgiving. Just get some lights. Buy a bunch of citronella candles, because it's like, oh, it's winter, no mosquitoes. It's Florida, still mosquitoes, right? And and have Thanksgiving. Like, have it out here. I put the Bluetooth speakers on outside. Put on some trio music or some. Lately, I've been on a lo-fi Christian music tip.
Right.
But last night we were out
Or
there.
you put. I mean, I know that I'll reshare them, right? But we got like, what, like 2 or 3 or 4 Boricua Christmas playlists, and
Oh yeah.
they sing about all, like 90% of them are about lechon. So I mean, nobody will really know.
I always play those every year. But
lechon.
Last night I had Boleros Románticos playlist. I have to send it to you.
Ooh.
It was
Is it the Boricua one?
Nah, it was mixed.
Oh, okay.
I had some, but it was like the old school, right? It had the old school stuff. So there was like some great. I
have one that's called Boleros. I'll send it to you. Then there's a Boleros like by new artists. It's like they're covering some old stuff. They probably have some new stuff mixed in. Then there's another one called Canciones de Recuerdo. I'll send you those.
That one sounds interesting. Yes,
I'll send you those.
We had to get inside because all the songs started replaying in my head. I'm out there singing at the top of my lungs, like, yeah. And then Magda's like, yeah, okay. It's late. The neighbors are yell at us. We got to go inside. I was like, yeah,
but the neighbor's going to join you.
It's like, oh, well, my neighbors to the left, they might join me, but behind me and to the right. Well, maybe my neighbors to the right. So like this. You see this T-shirt I'm wearing? It belongs to me. I bought it. But it's my neighbor to the right of me. Their son has.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to overflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.
He is so chill, super polite, super friendly, real easygoing, right? Like, and then he's got the long hair. But then he got on that stage. And he went from because how we started talking is because when we were in Georgia one time, the grass on the side of the house mutated and got super long. And every time I try, I was not successful. And cutting the grass, I was doing it in waves. And he came to the door and he was like, hey, if you are okay with it, I'll cut that grass on the side for you. Like, I'll do it for you. Like, no problem. I want to ask first because, some people are weird about these things. I was like, I will buy you a gas card and a boba tea. Whatever one you like, if you do that for me.
And he was like, why have to be boba?
Because I know he loves boba. And I know he loves boba because somebody delivered boba to us one time on DoorDash.
It was supposed to be for him?
Yeah, DoorDash. They delivered like 4 bobas, and I was like, ooh, this is amazing. Who is this for? There's like, oh, it's just for. I'm like, nope, that's not me. That's those guys. It's all right. I'll send it to them. And I went and I brought it to them. Right? So he was like, oh, yeah, I'll take a Thai tea. Like, oh, awesome. And he not only cut all the grass on the side, also the front of the house, but he also trimmed and edged the lawn. So I'm like, ooh, this is looking nice. Well deserved. Here you go, sir. Right? But we start talking. Right? It's easy. We start talking. So we stand there and he's all talking about his family. They're from Laos. And we're talking. Everything's cool. Very chill kid. Very easy going, nice kid. He gets on stage and it's a metal band, right? And he's the lead singer. So it's all right, and then the hair. And so when I went, his parents also went. And I'm standing. Oh my God, I'm so happy. So thank you for supporting our son and coming. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised to see you guys here.
Yeah. Thank me for supporting your son. Thank you for supporting your son.
Right? It's like, oh yeah, we want to support him. Like, yeah, okay, we'll have this conversation another time because I'm like, wait, they're Asian parents supporting a music dream.
Metal.
Tell me about that. Right?
That's not like a cello or violin
Right.
or piano. Anyway,
it was him, and I was like, yo, who is this kid? Like, complete transformation. It was amazing. And the music's good too. Like the band is good. But I was like, yeah, hey, I would love to help you. I'll give you any pointers, any help I can give you from like what I do as far as management, contracts, and all that.
right.
But I told him, but first, off rip, I'll tell you right now, you need more music. Just like you need more original music. Right? So they just put out their second original song. And it's right. This is the interesting part, right? This is why it's important to build relationship as
to build community.
To build community, right? As over just evangelizing, like beating somebody up with a Bible, right? There's a time and a place, right? So we talk, we chill, we hang out right here by the house, whatever. And I went to his show. I bought his merch, all this stuff, right? And then I asked him, yo, do you have an IG? Let me follow you on IG. Yes. We go there. I follow him on IG from my 90-second spot, right? He followed back. And then somehow he found me on TikTok, the devotional stuff, and he followed me there. So then he sends me a message on Instagram, which is strange because he has my phone number. But anyway, he sends me a message on Instagram.
That's how these kids communicate, bro.
Yeah, that's true, right? Saying, hey, Jay, we just dropped a new song. Would love for you to hear it and like your opinion on it. And I was like, well, actually, I've been hearing your new song since this morning after dropping off the kids. Love it. I would love to talk about it because it's about Lao, right? So I want to, know the story behind the song. And then he tells me, by the way, I started following you on TikTok and I'm loving your videos. Right? It's like, I'm loving your videos. I listened to all of them and I love what you're saying. I'm like, oh, awesome. We can talk about that too.
Right. Oh, awesome. So do you not want to go to hell? Because I could tell. No.
We can talk about that too. But it's just this thing, right? Because I grew up charismatic, right? So I grew up charismatic in the extreme sense where if you're not guerrilla preaching in the streets and telling people you're gonna go to hell if you don't repent, right? Then you're not being a good disciple.
Right.
Right? Like you need to be a street evangelist. Even when I went to meet with the evangelist out of Daniel Calendar's camp, right? That's what he was all about. Just, oh, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna go to hell. And I'm like, when I was your age, sure, I did things like this, but I don't think this is the move right now. It's like there's a time for that, and there's a place for that.
There's a time, right? There's a time and place, yeah.
And of course, an energy for that I no longer have.
But that's the thing, though, like, because growing up, on the Baptist side, it was all about, Mondays you'd go and you'd go knock on, if somebody visited and they put their name on the card, you'd go knock on their house, like not call them, just knock on their door, be like, oh, hey, we saw you were here, and then go door knocking. Matter of fact, I was talking to this dude, and they're doing this like house church thing, whatever, and but last week or a week before, a couple of weeks ago, on a Saturday, they had an evangelism, evangelism course at Stone Mountain, right? So it was like, all right, so This is the evangelism part. And then they were going into the park and just cold calling, right? People, I don't know how else to say it, like just approaching people to quote unquote present the gospel.
The term I used was guerrilla evangelism.
Guerrilla evangelism. I like cold calling because that's
They're not calling anybody. Yeah.
This is his idea. But then they were like, oh yeah, because what we're gonna do is he was like, we're gonna start going door to door in our neighborhood, just knocking on people's door and sharing the gospel. And I'm thinking, bold. That's bold, Cotton, right? But like you just, hey, if they answer the door, like that's not the world we live in anymore. Hopefully nobody gets shot.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Because I don't know how it is, like, but now I see more J-Dubs standing outside with their table, right? Their table wall, more than I see them knocking on doors anymore. Right? Because we don't.
Yeah, they still do every once in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, I see more Mormons knocking on doors than J-Dubs now. Because yeah, it's not the same world. Like when we were kids, knock on the door, hey, you have 5 minutes to talk about. You're like, yeah, I don't. Thank you very much. Boom. But it's like when I was at the square, we would do the grocery drop off, right? And on that, we had the truck full of groceries, and we knock on the doors. Hey, we're giving away groceries, right? We're from this church, and we're giving away groceries if you need, if you want, whatever, right? But then some people would say yes. All right, here you go. Here's a bag, and then use that as a segue for prayer. Not for, hey, you want to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, but for prayer.
Right.
Is anything that we can like stand with you and pray for you about or for,
right.
Pray, right? And some people would say, like 90% of people would say yes, right? And then there's that small amount that was like, nah, I'm good. Thanks for the groceries though, right? And that's okay,
right?
But I don't know now if, like, even with the church plan, because even with the church plan, we're planning on implementing the grocery drop-off day, right? Like we used to do with the Adopt a Block and stuff like that. So I don't know if now I'd be good with taking the team, just like, do you know about Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Right? Because it's different now. Now you get shot up. You get shot up.
Well, that's the thing. Even the grocery drop thing. They shoot you and they take all the groceries.
But it's like it's different because when I think of the groceries in Atlanta, right? It's this guy Harrison, who's like this mean-looking guy, right? This mean-looking guy. And then they also already built relationships there by the time I went with them to help. So a lot of people already knew them.
Right.
But like if we do it out here, it reminds me of like when you and I went to the house that you used to own to collect rent, remember? That they were like calling.
Yeah, poor lady. Yeah, poor lady.
So I'm thinking like if I and Mike, the refugee, the dad, right, who's like 6'7",
right,
knocking on doors, this giant of a man is like, hey, we're handing out groceries. You also go.
Yes, thank you. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so that's the thing, though. It's right. It's building. It's.
But there's this thing that a lot of people think that oh well, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. You shouldn't be afraid. And I don't think the people that say that realize that there's a difference between fear and wisdom.
Right.
Fear and wisdom. It's not that I'm afraid of doing it, because I'm not afraid of doing it, but it's about being wise and then especially me as the pastor, right? Not bringing my people into a dangerous situation because I want to prove to them that I'm not afraid.
Right.
I'm not afraid. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. We're gonna go with Jesus, and I'm ready to meet Jesus. I am ready to meet Jesus. Don't get me wrong. I am ready to meet Jesus. I'm just not in a rush.
Right. You don't want to be like knocking on the door 1 minute and then the next like split second, Jesus going, "What you doing here?"
Yo, son, you early. I thought Puerto Ricans were on island time.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here.
I created you Puerto Ricans on island time. Like,
That, you know what? That now it all makes sense.
What makes sense?
So purgatory.
Oh, you froze. Nope,
There we go. I'm back. I'm sorry. No, purgatory makes sense now. That's for the people that show up early. And it's like, yeah, your room's not ready. Like your mansion ain't ready. So we're gonna let you chill at this Airbnb, right? This cloud being cloud.
They're gonna give you information in China while you wait.
So you just chilling in purgatory. It's like doop doop doo while they're finishing your house, your mansion.
Gosh, that's hilarious.
That's what it is. I figured it out.
Talking about that.
Theological, son.
Mimi sent me a link to the video for Audio Adrenaline's Big House. So while she was showing Kenny.
Nice.
Oh,
Lots of room. Not papi's, not abuelo's house. It's
not Abuelo's house.
It's a tiny house with tiny rooms.
But God has a big house.
He got a big house. But so anyways, yeah, that's the deal. So it's funny though. So let's just use this kind of jump off here. Talking about being, wise and how we conduct ministry and how we conduct.
What did you use as a jump off there?
Well, you said we have to be wise.
Oh yeah,
right?
I did. Yes,
right? We have to.
We do.
We have to be.
All things.
Listen, I can transition however I want. You can't tell me what to do.
You were talking about his big house and Mimi and
that big house, and I'm bringing it back.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. We did say that. But yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got to be wise.
So
couple of things.
There's this thing, right? And you've seen that this week for my devotionals, I've been pushing on the importance of community, right? The importance of having people and not doing life or not walking your faith. Right? I don't want to say, oh, you don't do that alone, but not walking out your faith alone, right? And I think yesterday I said that people want the first century church without the first century sacrifices. And what I meant by that, and I think I explained it a little, I meant that a lot of people have told me, oh, well, I want things back like the first century church, and where it says that they met in homes. They had church at the temple. That's number one. Number two, afterwards, they met at homes. And it says that, and each one gave according to the other's need. So there would be no need among them, right? But so the connect or the link that I said was, we want first century church without first century sacrifice in the form of being vulnerable to other people and talking to other people and letting them know that you had a need, because they gave according to the other's needs because they knew what the needs were.
They knew what the need was, right?
They knew what the need was because they shared. They were vulnerable. They talked to each other. They knew what was up. And today the conversation was on having, right? Yesterday, community, big C. Today, community, little c, as far as, you need people. You need people around you. You need people that you can talk to, people that you can open up to, people that you can depend on for accountability and for encouragement, and to just, help you walk. And I use the example that Jesus walked with 12, but then he had his three, which is Peter, James, and John, right? Every time that he went away, most times when he went away, he took Peter, James, and John with him. The Mount of Transfiguration, right. Peter, James, and John. Garden of Gethsemane, Peter, James, and John. Right? And it's important, because not only does this help us have accountability and give accountability, right? But it also helps us from falling astray, right? It also helps us, if you use it properly. I need my cafe. I'm talking too much. I finished my cafe. If you use it properly, right, and if you are completely open and vulnerable with your people, then you have the comfort and the permission, right, to call somebody, one of your three, right? Let's put it like, just keep it simple. One of your three, and let them know, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. I am sad. I am depressed. I need help. There have been many times that I have texted my three, right? My three, of which Joaquin is one. And I said, hey, I am struggling with a bit of depression right now because of this, and that. I would love it if you could pray with me, right? And, and everybody goes, oh, praying for you, whatever. And then, but what's going on? We have the conversations. What's going on? What's happening? What brought this on? And it's the permission that you give so that you can have these vulnerable and honest conversations. And if you do this on the forefront, then you won't sin or fall away on the back end.
Right. And permission too, right? To not just be like, hey, I'm calling, or not just hey, I'm calling you because I'm going through whatever, I'm depressed, but also, that 1, 2, 3, right? That group can also be the ones that come and go, hey, I noticed you posted this, or I noticed you said this, or I noticed you might want to check that. Right?
Yeah.
That will was that?
Yeah. What's going on with that? What's going on? Like,
yeah, and I
posted this or that, whatever. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, they can kind of call you when they notice that maybe you're maneuvering, right, in a way that is unsafe, right? And it's gonna, whether it's unsafe, relationally, spiritually, emotionally, right? With all the all the different things, right? Because it seems like, right, now, especially more than ever, right, with like social media, and how now we have access, right, to the world in a way that we didn't have access growing up.
Yeah, very true.
Right. So now our temptations used to be local, right? Now they're global.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
funny, I was watching so Banning Leafshire has this new podcast, his solo podcast, right? The Banning Leafshire podcast. But anyway, he was talking about how now, like back in the days, like you said, the news was local, right? So you heard about the things that was in your area. Maybe every once in a while, one or two stories that were global, right? But like when I grew up in New York news, right? ABC News or Eyewitness News was New York City, or the Tri-State, New York City. The newspapers, New York City. Maybe something happened over here, happened over there, right? But it was New York City. But now with the internet, like you said, we have all of this information and all of these temptations and all of this news hitting us right? By like the, I don't know, whatever quadrillion terabytes is, right? But we download more in a day than we than we did in a lifetime before, right? So, and it's like you said, with the fact that we can download or have access to all this global information, we also have access to all this global temptation and all of these global influences to depress us and to put us in a dark place, right? Now,
And to steer us.
right. And why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because in the news we read that I forgot exactly where it was. Was it Alabama?
It was in Alabama, yeah.
Alabama, a pastor in Alabama. Apparently, he was a pastor and a mayor, and apparently he also had a social media account where he had a pseudonym. He went by another name, and he was a transgender female in like this whole separate life. Right? He had this whole life, but he was a transgender female, and he posted pictures of himself in lingerie and all these things as a woman. And he wrote all types of erotica and all these things as a woman, as that transgender woman, right? And then it was exposed. People found out. The whole world found out, right? Because now we're in this information age.
Right. And it was exposed because somebody, right, because this news organization, for whatever reason, decided that we need to do a story on this, right?
But even then, like even if they hadn't done the story, right? Because the fact that it was exposed drove him to kill himself, right? Or as the internet says, right, to self-delete, right? But even if it wasn't exposed, he still had this whole separate life, right? Like, according to what he said, his wife knew about it. He never acted upon it, so he never lived life as a woman and went out on dates or anything. But he dressed up and liked to do that. But this is the deal. Why are we saying this? Not to expose whatever has already been exposed, but had he a circle of people that he probably could entrust and talk to and talk these things out with and pray with and seek God with, it probably would not have gotten as far as it had. Right? Or even if he still decided to not listen to advice and do it anyway, those people, had he had them, still could have come around him, right? When it was exposed, they would have ran to him where he wouldn't have had the opportunity possibly to self-delete the way he did, right? It's there are nuances to everything, but when it comes to this, if he had people around him to keep him accountable, if he had people around him to pray for him and to like reach out to him, most likely the secret lifestyle wouldn't be. But if it was, he most likely still would be around because these people would have ran to him as soon as they saw that something happened, rather than the whole town and the church and everybody all find out the same time the whole world did.
Right. And then, and so that, and that's the thing, especially because, right, we know me and Jay we've talked about this and, for years in the podcast, and we'll keep talking about it probably until, we're sitting in the purgatory waiting for our mansions to be finished being built. But as men, right, we have to find that group of friends, right, that we can be honest with and we can be open with and we can, it's too, one of the things I remember reading a while back is like, men now have less friends than like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Which is
Yeah.
crazy to think that, our dads had like, our dads didn't have friends, but they had more friends than people had, right? I mean, because if you're like, my dad was always around, but the idea that, as men, we're, because of technology, because of how society's become so insular, because we just need a phone or a computer or a tablet and we access the world. We don't actually have to go out into the world, right? To access it. As believers, as men, we need to find that group that we can be vulnerable with, that we can, uh, like kind of like the share our deepest, darkest thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And secrets to help us navigate some of these things that we deal with, right? Because when we don't have those things, when we disconnect ourselves from people that can hold us accountable, um, bad things happen, right? We kill
Yeah.
ourselves.
And then
We destroy our marriages. We destroy our homes.
and
We
then
destroy our lives.
there's this thing that as Christian men, um, we had to live in this land of make believe where we're asked, hey, Jay, how you doing? Oh, I'm in victory, brother. I am good. The devil is messing, but God is blessing, right? We had to live in this make believe land that because we are Christians, because we're believers, because we're pastors, we are always good. We are always in victoria, right? And it's a lie. It's a lie. We're not always good. I don't think that I have dealt with loneliness, right, as much as I have now as a pastor,
Right.
right? I don't think that I've dealt with I'm like, yo, yes, I'm on mission. Yeah, things are moving with this church plant. Things are good now. Things are like really moving, and I'm just like, yo, this is lonely. Like when I was saying about when I was outside last night with the family, it was great, right? I loved it, right? The wife was there, kids were there, but after we all went inside, like the fire was still going on in the chimenea. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, it would be so great to call up the guys and have them all come and we can just sit out here till like midnight. Cause I was gonna say 1, 2 in the morning, but we ain't that young no more. Till like
I
midnight.
mean, we can make it, but we start slowing down right at midnight.
Right? Just the music, right? It's like I don't have that. And then it's not just that I didn't have that because you guys are on in Atlanta, but it's like I had no one, right? I had no one. And it's not that the wife wouldn't, but she was already tired and going to sleep, right?
Right. Well, and it's different, right? Because we have to have that. I hate using this term. We have to have that safe space, wah, wah,
Ah,
where
ah,
we can speak,
right.
right? Speak our minds and our hearts. Which
I'm so
so
glad
we have.
that she was able to find like a Polish little Polish community of friends down here, and that's great. But like, I, I need people.
Oh, pobrecito. So yeah, so then we have this pastor, right? Committed suicide. Was doing things that was just kind of like, that's odd. Where was his tribe? Where was his group of people that maybe he could have
What was his circle?
expressed, right? Express these things. And then on the other side, came out last week before. I mean, it's the founder of IHOP, was the International House of Prayer, not the International House of Pancakes. Um, he got accused of, another pastor, right? Got accused of sexual misconduct. Um, and so of course, now he stepped down, and they're doing this, third party, bringing him in, doing this investigation. Um, one of the accusations appears to be, there's enough surrounding it that it appears that it's credible, and you know it's tragic to me, right? It's tragic because, like, I have a friend whose wife went to the IHOP ministry school in Kansas City, right? They've done, that ministry has done a lot for the kingdom, right? Raising up worshipers and prayers and all this, all these different things. And then for the, you find out that the guy that was running it, the head of it, gets caught up, right, in these accusations. Um, however, and whatever of them may be true, whatever may not be true. The point is that how do you get yourself, right, where you're in these situations throughout your ministry that open the doors to impropriety, that open the doors to possible, right, misconduct, open the doors to actual misconduct.
Right.
Right. And so to me, they're similar, right? Same coin, two different sides of it.
Right.
Right. One guy who hid everything, and he didn't have that circle of friends to help him walk through that. And then the other guy who hid, right, hid his sins. And we all know that still ends up coming out eventually.
So
right.
there are two scriptures that we could tie this in. The first one was brought up by Joaquin, which shows one side, right? Where in second, it says that David sent the people out to war. David, who was a warrior king, known to be a warrior, sent the people off to war, and he stayed home. I had the stuff pulled up on the computer behind me, and my iPad is nowhere to be found right now. So
right.
I can't tell you exactly what scripture it is, but I'll post it in the comments.
Yeah, 2 Samuel 11, chapter 1, right? In this, I got it because I pulled it up. In the spring of the year, the time is in the spring of the year, the time when kings go out to battle.
Right. It's even
the time.
It's been prefaced.
Right. It's the time that you are out battling. David sent Joab and his servants with him and all of Israel, and they ravaged the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained at Jerusalem. So when kings go to war, the king stayed home. Right?
And when he stayed home, he
commits
another man's wife. And we all know what, right? And then when Jesus was at the Garden of Gethsemane, right? He asked Peter, James, and John to wait and pray, and they fell asleep. And he came to me, told them, watch and pray so that you won't fall into temptation, for the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And yeah, that wasn't because Peter, James, and John were sinning. It was just because they were telling him that they were going to stay up for him and they will fall asleep. The flesh is weak.
Right.
Flesh wants to sleep, right? But also the flesh is weak, right? We're carnal. We want what we want for self-gratification, right? Watch and pray, because the spirit is willing. The spirit wants you to serve God and be with God, right? Romans 12, right? It says, do not conform to the ways of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? Like the spirit wants to bring you to the Lord and close in relationship to God. But the flesh wants what it wants for self-gratification, right?
Right. Paul said, right? Paul said, why do I do the things I don't want?
Right. The things that I want to do, I don't do. The things that I don't want, those I do, right? So get yourself around people and give them the permission for you to be vulnerable with and to be open with and talk to. We need, when it comes down to it, we need people, right? When the Bible says that God said that man was not created to be alone, yes, he created Eve, and we see that only for marriage, right? But we have to broaden that, right? We're not meant to be alone. We are meant to be in community. We're meant to thrive in community, right? And we are meant to walk with people. Even Jesus sent his disciples out 2 by 2, right? We are meant to walk with people. Find yourself people and give them the permission for you to be vulnerable with. Give them the permission for them to be vulnerable with you, right? Because we need to walk this together. We can't walk this alone. Jesus himself didn't walk this alone. Not because he couldn't, because he's God, right? But I believe that it was to show us that we shouldn't.
Right.
To show us that we shouldn't. Right. So
if what we do here is but a shadow, right, of what goes on in heaven, so then just think of our friendships here is just it's a shadow of that relationship anyway, right? Of that closeness that we're gonna have with God when we're with him. So we pattern that, we practice that. I mean, Jesus was in the desert for 40 days by himself, and he was tempted. Right? Now he was, I say, okay, well, he's God, but what was he doing out there? I mean, to tie it back to the Garden of Gethsemane, he was praying, right? He was praying. It was because when Satan, right, offered him all the kingdoms, he offered him everything. Jesus was able to push back. And then once Jesus goes through that, what's the first thing he starts doing, right? He starts his ministry, and what does he do? He surrounds himself.
But right? even if you listen, I have this this sermon that I teach that he went up there to be and he was not to be tempted, but he went up there to pray.
Right.
But the Satan knew to tempt him with human things, right? He tempted him with hunger because he was fasting, right? He tempted him through his ego, right? Right? And then he tempted him with his trust. Right? So there's human things, his hunger, make these stones into bread, right? His ego, I'll make sure that all these people worship you. His trust, throw yourself off, because doesn't the Bible say that the angel armies will come and rescue you? Right? These are all like things that are human, that we deal with in our humanity, that Jesus also had to deal with in his humanity, right? So 100% human, 100% divine. And the devil knew that. It was after 40 days. The Bible says that it was after 40 days, right? And not in the beginning, after 40 days that he came at him, right?
When Jesus was at his weakest physically, right? Because he hadn't eaten. Right? So
like what Joaquin says is true. After he got out, he started his ministry, and the first thing that he did was call people to him. Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men, right? He called people to him, surrounded himself with people, and walked with people, right? He could have done it alone, but he did that. This is me. Nowhere does it say this in the Bible. This is me, Pastor Jay, saying that he did that, in my opinion, to show us that we need to walk with people. Okay? So find yourself some people. Give them the permission to be vulnerable with you, and for you to be vulnerable with them. Be honest, right? We are meant to be our brother's keeper. Right? We are meant to be our brother's keeper. Let's keep each other until the day we see the Lord. I don't think I think that because of culture and society, where we're taught to be self-sufficient, right? We're taught to be self-sufficient. We're taught that. So it goes against every fiber of our being. But the kingdom, right? The ways of the kingdom, the way of Jesus, is to walk with people. So
I'll end it and I'll end it with my last thought is this: as Jay was saying, here's the thing, right? David didn't go to war like he was supposed to. What is it that you're doing or you're not doing that you're supposed to be doing, right? What relationships are you not supposed to be having that you're having? You're not supposed to have those relationships. You're not supposed to be going to those places. You know what they are for you. I know what they are for me. So are we being careful? Are we being wise and going, you know what? This is not where I need to be. David didn't need to be home because he sinned and he lost a child.
Yeah.
Right. So where are you going? And don't hit me with, we always say this, right? And don't hit me with, oh, I'm going there to be a light for Jesus. No. Don't give us that excuse. Are you really supposed to be there? Or are you not? And then to tie that is, so how do you know not to be there? Because you're in prayer, so that you don't give in to that temptation like David gave in to that temptation. And then you end up cascading all these consequences where then you're like, oh, well, God, I'm going to deconstruct because God isn't real because all these bad things happen to me.
Or
it started with,
I would rather be in these places doing these things.
Right. And it all started because we were not, right? It's the springtime when kings go to war.
Right.
And you're not at war.
Lord's Prayer says, let us not fall into temptation, but deliver us. Right. So
that's that,
that you've known for a while and you've been hearing, but they make sense to you until you heard this podcast.
Right. So yeah. So where you're supposed to be there. And while you're going there and while you're there, pray. Right?
Pray and watch.
Pray and watch so that you don't fall into temptation. Cause he's like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So that's it. That's what we got for y'all. Thank you, as always. Hope something comes out of this for you. I know it does for me and Jay every time. It gives us something to think about ourselves. Hey, until next week, we're happy. Let us know what you think of how we're kind of doing now as we kind of change things a little bit. Last thing I want to say is we're going to give a shout out to Matthew Perry. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple weeks ago. And we were going to mention him, but we didn't. But he has some interesting things. And, we're big Friends fans, so we're sad that Chandler is gone.
Yeah.
As always, join us next week. Can't wait to talk to y'all again. As always, I am Joaquin.
And I'm still Jay.
Wait. Time out. We got it. As always, now, since everything is new, hey, thanks for joining us, Apostle Joaquin.
And Pastor Jay.
And Pastor Jay. Peace. See y'all next week.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to theoverflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.